Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Think about this, man. Less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients, making delicious home-cooked meals. Choose from a variety of new recipes each week. They got sauteed shrimp and green beans with globe tomatoes, spinach, and orzo pasta. Or let the Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year. You'll never get bored, and customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has lots of delivery options. You can choose what fits your needs. Best part, there's no weekly commitment. You only get deliveries when you want them. Each one of those meals has got a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card. Pre-portioned ingredients, you can make them in 40 minutes or less. Their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Bomani. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. blueapron.com/Bomani. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That's at Bomani_Jones. Ooh, boy, the Baltimore Ravens drew the short straw. And what do I mean when I say that they drew the short straw? They drew the short straw in the sense that they were the team, the first one to have some sign of quarterback problem that would then require any reasonable person to say, well, what about Colin Kaepernick? Right, whole league had to be sitting around like, man, I hope nothing happens to our quarterback, because if anything happens to your quarterback, that means people are talking about you got to sign a new quarterback, and you know what that means. That means you got to start talking about Kaepernick, and no team was to wind up in that situation. But see, I personally imagine that while there were very many teams that did not want to wind up in that situation, there is probably no team that wanted to wind up in this situation less than the Baltimore Ravens. Why would I say that there's no team that want to wind up in this situation less than the Baltimore Ravens? Number one, the Baltimore Police Department, as captured by The Wire on television, various Damon Simon works, and what you have seen in the newspaper, their relationship with the community, shall we say, is not exactly the strongest. You may recall the story with a gentleman named Freddie Gray, who had his spine snapped in the back of a wagon. So this becomes tricky if the Kaepernick thing comes up, right? Because they might want Kaepernick, but you know what police, they unions, they write strongly worded letters, right? So the Ravens, no, they had to be sitting here like, no, we don't really want any parts of this. No, and we really don't want any parts of this because not only is Kaepernick possibly better than our backup, he may be better than our starter too. Ooh, no, we don't want any parts of this. And then the homie Flacco had his back get hurt. Now, they said that it's a back injury that probably only going to be hurt for about 10 days or something, like he'll probably be able to come back. Except the problem is when it's a back injury, nobody's really believing that there's like a 10-day back injury. There are very few of those. Like, we don't hear about a back injury until it's beyond the point of being a back injury and goes full on to being a bad back, right? Like, how many times, oh, man, that dude hurt his back. After you've hurt your back, what do we say about you forever? You got a bad back, or perhaps a trick back, right? Anyway, Joe Flacco, his trick back started hurting. Doctor say he need a backiotomy. And then after that, Ryan Mallett comes out and throws not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. To be fair, not 6, but 5 interceptions in a scrimmage. Meanwhile, Colin Kaepernick does not have a job. So late last week, we had heard that the Ravens were thinking about calling Kaepernick, and I was not here for that, right? And this was my thinking. If your argument was that Flacco's only going to be out there for 10 days and you need a camp arm, like basically just someone who can throw the ball in camp, then no, you don't call Kaepernick. It puts you in a situation where you do have to deal with some of the things that are going to happen with Kaepernick at first, but if you're not going to keep him on the roster, then no, I don't think it winds up being worth that investment. Go get the dude that just worked as a realtor if all you're looking for is somebody to be a camp arm. I thought that was reasonable. Now, there were people who thought that Kaepernick would wind up getting signed in the course of those couple of days, but that thing did not happen. Now, we fast forward to yesterday, and people talking a little more about this, talking a little bit more, in part because everybody looked up and remembered, oh, that's right, Ryan Mallett stinks. All right, like Ryan Mallett, who came in the league as a walking red flag, who got his chance to be a starter after being Tom Brady's apprentice, got a chance to be a starter in Houston, was bad as a starter in Houston, was so bad that at one point he got pulled out of a game, and then that fool stood there on the sideline berating his replacement during the game. And somebody gave him another job. The Ravens had the chance to watch Ryan Mallett start last year. They saw it wasn't really so great. They brought Ryan Mallett back this year. Ryan Mallett's already chucked a bunch of interceptions. It's very difficult to make the sell that Ryan Mallett is a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick, right? It is a very, very difficult sell for you to make. So then that means Steve Bisciotti got to come out here and handle this. And remember, this is from the football team that gave us the worst press conference any of us have ever seen in a time of crisis, which was the Ray Rice press conference where Ray Rice's wife apologized for Ray Rice beating her up. Right, that hastily thrown together press conference, that was your Baltimore Ravens. And now here are your Baltimore Ravens again, except this is their owner, and he's talking about whether or not they're going to sign Colin Kaepernick. Now, hold on now a second. Before we get to this sound, one thing I want you to understand is Steve Bisciotti, the team owner, had the nerve to say, well, we're going to talk to fans and we're going to talk to sponsors before we make this decision. Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong. None of those things have anything to do with football, right?
Last time I checked, no, they do not, sir.
So is it then fair to say that all the people who made the argument that the reason that Kaepernick is not on the roster is simply because he's not good enough as a football player, and the team that had the opportunity to say he's not good enough as a football player actually said they want to talk to fans and sponsors? Would I then be correct in saying that Steve Bisciotti just took your "it's for football reasons" excuse and wiped his behind with it?
That would be a safe assumption, yes.
Okay, can we make sure those people flush it, though? Because they're going to try to bring up that stinky excuse again if we don't flush it away. Right? It needs to go into a septic tank or whatever it is at the other end of the pipe in your toilet. But that is what that man said. He said he's going to talk to fans. They said they're going to talk to sponsors. If he's going to talk to fans, if he's going to talk to sponsors, those are not football people. Ergo, therefore, where is your "this is about football" excuse? Right? Okay. Now, moving on, here is Steve Bisciotti giving one of the worst quotes I've ever heard.
Do want to win games, and I'm not sure right now that he is going to help us do that. You know, we're monitoring Joe. We've talked to Joe about it. We're monitoring Mallett. We're keeping our door open. We talked about RG3, bringing him in for a workout. We're very sensitive to it, and we're monitoring it, and we're still, as Ozzie says, scrimmaging it, and we're trying to figure out what's the right tact, and so pray for us.
Shannon, when did Hugh Freeze buy this team? Did he tell me to pray for him?
Yeah, I think that's what he said, yeah.
He told me to pray for him. I pray for Freddie Gray, homie. Ain't nobody praying for you. You say, and I don't pray, but whatever. You tell me to pray for you. What do you mean pray for you? What are we praying for you about? So the first thing my man said was, we don't know if Colin will make our football team better. Yes, you do. You wouldn't be having this discussion unless you thought that Kaepernick could make your football team better. Because if Kaepernick could not make your football team better, you were either saying, that's not a direction we're going in, this dude is not good enough, or no comment. You know damn well he's better than Ryan Mallett. Right? Like, all of us can agree on this. You know damn well he's better than Ryan Mallett. You know who else you know he's better than? You know damn well he's better than Robert Griffin. Right. You know he's better than Robert Griffin. I want to know who in there was like, hey, Steve, say Robert Griffin out there. He black, too. Yeah, so, you know, we're thinking about signing Kaepernick. We also thought about bringing Jamarcus Russell in for not him, not Jamarcus. Hey, which one? Robert Griffin. That's the guy that we're thinking about bringing in here. Yeah, sorry about that. I got a little confused. Come on, man. You know this dude can make your football team better. Or at the very least, it's better than the guys that you have in Ryan Mallett and whatever dude. They got some dude, whoever they signed to replace the realtor. I saw him described in an article today as a journeyman. The dude is 24 years old, and he's already at journeyman status. Like, that's how far down the barrel they going to get dudes. Why you telling me Kaepernick just not good enough to wind up, like, getting a look from anybody, right? Come on, man. You got to be kidding me here. No, man. The Ravens have botched this one more time. You have exposed that this is not a football argument, right? You have exposed that with what you've got going. And now what you're also going to do, regardless of how many people are offended by whatever Kaepernick's like political message is, you are going to activate a segment of your fan base who is looking around and like, but for real, our quarterbacks stink. What you about to do? Right? And they've got to be looking at this. And if you're the Ravens, the only guy that, I mean, you got a dude that might be better than anybody that you have. He currently is not on your team, but he's probably not going to play for your team. Why? Because Steve Bisciotti is so sensitive to the opinions of racists that he will mess up your football team in the process. Now, how'd that make you feel about the team that you root for? Because, I mean, once again, here's the quote. We're very sensitive to it, and we're monitoring it, and we're still, as Ozzy says, scrimmaging it. What are you sensitive to? Like, really, what are you so sensitive to? Because I'm telling you, I engage people fairly often on this, right? There aren't a lot of people on this anti-Kaepernick kick who don't say something racist immediately before or immediately after. Like, I'm just telling you, like, the people who are that charged up, the racism normally comes around the corner. And I personally would be very, very offended if my favorite football team, if the owner told me, nope, making sure racists feel okay, more important than winning after you've bought all those tickets. Way to blow it, Ravens. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, we've got a phone call from a guy I'm probably going to embarrass. And also, Steve Bisciotti made a phone call to try to figure out what to do. He's like, hey, somebody know a black dude I can call? Oh, I'll call Ray Lewis. You're listening to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report will join us next segment. Mike Freeman will join us at 4:30 Eastern to talk about what's going on with the Baltimore Ravens. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. And, hey, Top Straight Talk brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks. No contracts. We're talking about the Ravens. We thought they might sign Colin Kaepernick. Then Steve Bisciotti got out there and was like, I just want to sound really foolish, but I really don't have any answers for you. Let us hit the phones and talk to Joe from San Antonio. Joe, thanks for calling The Right Time.
Hey, how's it going, Bomani?
Doing all right, man.
Hey, so have I ever heard you say that the NFL is a business?
I don't know.
Yeah, you know it is. It's a business, right?
I know it's a business. Hey, man, don't be trying to walt me up to stuff on my own damn show. Get to your question.
Hey, so tell me, I understood. What was the poll about why viewers left the NFL last year? What was the number one reason? Was it head injuries? Was the concern over the players?
Hey! But did you hear the segment I did on that? Where we found that the number of people that were actually discussing was very low, but yes, you are correct. 26% of the respondents to that poll, where only 16% said they watch less of the NFL, said Colin Kaepernick. The number two reason on that list, by the way, was around 24%. I'm pretty sure that list only gave a small number of options that they presented to people. But don't be cute. Make your point and go.
I just want to know. I've been to job interviews.
Let him go. Thank you. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. My man's point was that if you're a businessman, then you're worried that you're going to lose fans, then you don't do anything to lose fans. That's where he was going. I'm better at making your point for you than you are, Joe. Now, the issue or the problem that we would have there is this is a fan base that it is demonstrated that it will wear jerseys in support of Ray Rice after he's on video beating somebody up. And they didn't seem to ask the fans about that one, did they? Fans, I'm going to ask you guys this. These owners keep telling you that y'all are too racist to tolerate Colin Kaepernick as a football player. Are y'all going to let them talk about you like that? Because that's what they're saying. Like, that's what all of this is. When they talk about, well, the fans, they're saying that y'all are too racist to handle a dude that might make your football team better. Are you too racist to handle a dude that might make your football team better? Because if I were you, I would be a bit offended that this assumption is continuously made that y'all are too sensitive to be able to handle a football player that can make your team better. So you tell me, when you hear this and you start talking about it might turn fans away, are we talking about fans or are we talking about you? And if it's talking about you, and if it's not talking about you, why are you going to let these people keep calling you racist? Because I don't ever actually call you guys racist, right? That's not really my move. I'll talk about the system in general, but I'm not really going on individuals in that sort of way. They're coming at you with that at every turn, and you just let them. So are you or are you not? Let me know. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Now, Steve Bisciotti did say he was going to call Ray Lewis to talk about this. Why? Why? Like, why? What? Who? What is this insight that you expect to get from Ray Lewis? Because I actually watched a clip today from their television show. He was on today with Shannon Sharp. And Shannon Sharp is just running circles around Ray Lewis. And Ray Lewis is not making any sense at all while he's discussing this matter. Not making any sense. By the way, guys, did we ever find out whether or not he's on the Ravens payroll? Ray Lewis is making no sense to the point where I thought he must be on the payroll because all he was doing was basically riding for Bisciotti with like no fundamental point underneath it. So Bisciotti's like, yeah, I'll call Ray Lewis and get his insights. All of y'all, serious question. If it doesn't have to do with defense or being the middle linebacker, what are y'all calling Ray Lewis for insight on? Anybody? Perhaps you're looking for help on getting a brand of shoe polish if you got that spot in the back. But which one of y'all is calling Ray Lewis for insight on anything? And Ray Lewis might have insight on a bunch of things, but I'm asking you, how many matters are coming up where you feel like I need to talk to Ray Lewis? Bisciotti was sitting there like, wow, need somebody to say that I'm calling. But if I call Tony Dungy, he might tell me to sign him. Yo, yeah, call Ray Lewis. Keeping in mind that Ray Lewis is the dude who said this in advance of the NFL lockout.
We got to remove pride. Seriously. There's no other reason the issue is going on. That's why I don't get into word and a lot of all that other stuff, because it takes away from life itself. Man, there are people who's really struggling. For real. There's real struggles out there. What we're going through right now, we're affecting way more than us.
How so?
It's too many people live through us. Yeah. Walking the streets the way I walk the streets.
People who work in stadiums.
Yes.
Fans.
Yes. Yes. Do this research if we don't have a season. Watch how much evil, which we call it crime, watch how much crime picks up if you take away our game.
Why do you think that would happen?
There's nothing else to do, Sal.
The dude who thought the lockout was going to start a crime wave is the dude that Steve Bisciotti decided he needed to call to talk about this. There's nothing left to do, Sal. He thought a crime wave was coming without the lockout. Hey, Ray, why don't you do something to help Kaepernick get a job so he won't have to go out here and commit this evil, which we call crime? Right? What are you talking about? And then it always gets so twisted and convoluted when Ray gets involved, because Ray should not be involved in this, because nobody should be calling Ray Lewis to get these insights. However, right, after that happens, y'all got to call Ray Lewis a murderer. It never fails. Ray Lewis was never accused of murdering anybody. Ray Lewis was on trial for a murder, but even the DA in Atlanta would tell you they didn't think Ray Lewis killed anybody. They just thought Ray Lewis would snitch a lot sooner than he did. And he did snitch. And I don't blame him, because I probably would have snitched in the same situation too. But if you would like, you can look it up. Ray Lewis gives sworn testimony on what happened that night. Sworn testimony and with an immunity deal that depended on him telling the truth. And he got up there and he testified against the dudes who were acquitted, but against those dudes, he testified nonetheless. So the whole thing's been, oh, you want to ask a guy who was accused of a murder? Dude didn't kill anybody. Stop saying Ray Lewis killed people. If you want to say something about Ray Lewis, laugh at Ray Lewis saying the lockout was going to cause a crime wave because y'all were going to start breaking into stuff because y'all didn't have no football to watch. Never mind the fact that we don't have a crime wave that starts immediately in February every year when football goes away. We don't have that, right? But Ray Lewis thought a crime wave was going to go there. Steve Bisciotti is like, I need to talk to this man about Colin Kaepernick. Why? Because there's no one else to call. Straight Talk Wireless, nationwide coverage on America's largest and most dependable 4G LTE networks. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Let's hit the phones right fast and talk to Jason from Iowa. Jason, thanks for calling the right time.
Yeah. I'm just curious, what's Kaepernick doing himself to get back in the league? I mean,
what does that mean?
Everybody else is talking
Hold
about
on. What do you do to get back in the league?
That's what I'm wondering.
I'm asking you. Like, what do you think? What do you think somebody does? Like, what do you think the realtor who just got a gig did? Like, do you think he's supposed to go? Like, serious question. Do you think college should go to job fairs or go put in applications? Like, what kind of thing do you want him to do?
Whatever it takes. I mean, obviously he's gonna have to. Maybe, yeah, because I mean nobody's calling. So I mean he needs to do something, right? I mean nobody's calling him to come, work out for them. So what can he do?
Jason, thanks for the call. I honestly can't imagine like stepping outside at work for your cigarette break and then wasting it on hold to do that. Anyway, coming up next, how much influence does Ray Lewis still have with Ravens fans? We'll talk to Mike Freeman on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, and Sirius XM Channel 80. Like I've been telling you for a while, if you travel for business, stop wasting time pricing your flights and hotels at the same old sites you used to go to. The only site you need is Upside.com. It's quick and easy for Upside to show you the exact flights you're looking for and the big-name hotels you want to stay at. You can buy them separately or bundle them together. The more you bundle, the more you save, the bigger the gift card you receive to places like Amazon.com every time you buy a business travel package using Upside. Their concierge-level service is second to none. You get the VIP treatment while still paying low prices, and their expert navigators are always available 24/7 through phone, chat, social, and email to help anytime. Upside's the real deal for buying your business trips. You got to give them a try. And right now, when you use promo code Bomani, you're guaranteed to get at least a $100 Amazon gift card on your package purchase. That's code Bomani to get a $100 gift card free. Upside.com, the better way to buy business travel. Minimum purchase required. See site for complete details.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Just like our next guest, he covers the NFL for Bleacher Report. His name is Mike Freeman. Mike, were you surprised to see the press availability for Steve Bisciotti where they seem to have no plan whatsoever for what they were going to do?
They're crowdsourcing whether or not they should sign. I've never seen anything like that before. I mean, it's not unusual, as you know, Bomani, for a team to go to the veterans or go to some of their past great players and ask their opinion. The whole thing with Ray Lewis is a whole separate thing, but that's not unusual. It's unusual for an owner to sort of publicly do what he did, and they should have never publicly mentioned Colin Kaepernick to begin with. It was stupid. It made no sense. And either you sign or you don't. What is this sort of I'm just going to talk about it, and maybe, I don't know, I'm going to ask some people, and that's not how really, I mean, that's a top-notch organization run with a great GM and a very good head coach. I was very surprised that they did that. And I'll just say this real quick. I get really irritated. I'm still hearing this. I get very irritated at the people who are still saying the reason Colin Kaepernick hasn't been signed is because he can't play. Not only is he better than the starting quarterbacks on, off the top of my head, 7 or 8 teams, he's the best quarterback on 3, 4, 5 rosters entirely. He's the best quarterback on the Jets. He's the best quarterback on the Browns, the Jaguars, the Broncos. Maybe throw Houston in. That's just off the top of my head. That's like 4 or 5 teams. So we're reaching we've reached a while ago, but we're reaching very peak ridiculousness with this. This guy is a very good quarterback. I've watched him most of his career. He is incredibly well respected. And a part of me just thinks it's just very disgraceful what's happening to him. This is a really ugly moment to me in NFL history.
Now, we'll get to the larger point in a second, but I want to ask this about the Ravens. Did Ryan Mallett actually kind of put them in a worse spot by looking so bad yesterday?
Well, he threw the 5 interceptions, which is in training camp practice is really, really hard to do. I mean, it's just set up for the quarterback to sort of complete a lot of passes. So when you throw 5 interceptions, that's not great. So he did put a little bit more pressure on them. And the other issue the Ravens would face, I would say this for them, is it's possible. I'm a huge Joe Flacco guy, but if you look at his career recently, it's gone downhill fairly steeply. He's not the same guy he was. So you would have the problem of Kaepernick coming into a situation where he might be better than Joe Flacco. That is something that they have to think about. It seems like this whole thing may be dead, but that is something that they have to think about. But it's the way the Ravens handled it, Bomani, was just not the right way.
All right, we are talking to Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report here on The Right Time. Now, the Ray Lewis part is interesting because Bisciotti said that he was going to call Ray Lewis to talk about this. Now, with Baltimore Ravens fans, does Ray Lewis still carry that kind of clout?
He does. I mean, with a lot of fans, he is seen as sort of a really historic, which he is, historic great player. We don't have to review his history. But in Baltimore, where I went to high school, grew up in Maryland, I saw someone tweet about this earlier. You may remember who it was. I'm forgetting off the top of my head. But there's some truth to some of this thought process that Baltimore has. I grew up with it. I even feel it at times, that Baltimore is viewed as this sort of little sister. It's in the I-95 corridor between the nation's capital, Philly, New York, and Baltimore people, again, I'm one of them, don't take too kindly to sort of the outside looking at us that way, and Ray Lewis became a symbol of that. Now, there's it's not a perfect analogy, but they see Ray Lewis as a guy who was picked on, and they see the city as a guy who was picked on, and they love him for that. They love the fact that he became great despite all this huge glaring hole in his life, and he still became this great popular guy. So there's a lot of that at work. Now, there are people, Ravens fans, who don't like him, but there's a lot that identify with him and see him as a symbol of a city that's picked on. So he does have a lot of clout there, but still, I don't know a lot of organizations. I know organizations that seek advice, but they do it privately, quietly, and they don't let the advice sort of dictate. They just sort of listen to it. Bill Belichick doesn't go to a lot of his past greats and make a decision on what the greats say. He may take in their advice, but he doesn't listen to what they say. It seems like the Ravens sort of let what Lewis and some other people kind of dictate what they say.
All right, we're talking to Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report here on The Right Time. Have you been surprised to see the teams that were interested in Robert Griffin but not interested in Kaepernick? Because that seems to fly in the face of the argument that Kaepernick's out of the league because of football, because I don't think any of us think right now that Robert Griffin is an NFL quarterback. At least he didn't look like one the last time we saw him.
No, 100% right. And he also has the added burden of constantly being hurt. So you have a guy in Kaepernick who is a better talent, I think a smarter player. Kaepernick is a very intelligent football player who studies his craft and works it every day. He still trains every day, sometimes twice a day, all the time. So there's that component, and Robert Griffin gets hurt a lot. So it flies, all this stuff, Bomani, all of it flies in the face of logic and everything people are saying. Now, I will say this about Bisciotti. One of the things that he did, he almost did a favor to the people who have been saying, like me and you and others, a handful of others have been saying all along it was not about football. He sort of he proved that. Bisciotti came out and basically said what we've all been saying. He said, I don't like the fact that he does that, and so that's going to factor into his decision. And that's, he finally, John Mara said it a little bit, but we have an owner who finally came out and said it. So for that, I'm thankful. But yeah, the RG3 thing, all the other players, there's so many players that Kaepernick is better than. So it's a big mess.
All right, we're going to see how this all goes. That's Mike Freeman. Check him out at Bleacher Report, covering the NFL. Thanks so much, my man. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, now ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. We'll compare rates for you so you get the best deal, even if it's not with us, saving you time and money. Now, that's Progressive. Call or click today, and oh, boy, these calls on hold are going to be doozies.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report for joining us the last segment. Louis Riddick of ESPN will join us in the 5 o'clock Eastern hour. Remember, if you miss anything live, check out the Right Time podcast, available on the ESPN app. We've been talking about this Kaepernick situation. You guys sure are calling in about it. Let's hit the phones. Let's talk to Mike from Ohio. Mike, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, buddy, how's it going?
Yeah, I'm good.
Hey, my only problem with this whole situation, like, I'm a construction worker, and I'm a union construction worker. I care about workers' rights. If I went outside and picketed, man, they'd fire me. If I went outside and put an abortion shirt on the clock, that's what I'm talking about, on the clock, they'd fire me. If anybody, like a fast food worker does it, they'll fire you. You go out front when you're on the clock, you get fired. I don't know how he didn't get fired for that alone. He's representing the 40.
Whoa. Hold on there, union man. Given that there is no rule that requires that anyone stand for the national anthem, how are you, the union man, being okay with somebody being run out for something that is actually not prohibited?
No, I'm good with him doing it.
No. I'm asking you, though, as a union man, and you say you worry about the rights of the worker. This is within the rights of the worker because the employee cannot compel you to stand for the national anthem. So union man, looking out for the rights of the worker, why aren't you looking out for the right of the worker in this case?
Oh, I am, but I'm saying I can't understand with him representing them. Obviously, the San Francisco 49ers didn't like that.
Hold on. I just told you, though. They can't force you to stand up for the national anthem. So what are you talking about?
They don't, but there's no rule saying that they can't fire him for not standing for the national anthem.
I got to say, man, you're a really whack union man. Like, I would hate to be behind you in the union when it comes down to fight, because you'd be like, you know what, boss? Y'all got a point. Because that's what it sounds like.
No. That's not it at all. I'm asking, say you're a fast food worker, and they fire you for going out and doing the same thing, right?
Wait, here's the thing, though. In fast food, they don't make you stand up for the national anthem before you start a shift.
But you're still representing the fast food when you go out front is the thing. I'm saying that because I can't even set up a picket. You know what I mean?
But we're not. But what are we talking about? You picketing? Like, I don't like, all your comparisons are off.
If I was picketing anything, if I went out and Did the dude picket anything? Is he just not standing for the national anthem, and then you asked why, and he told you, and then you decided to call it a protest? He's on the clock for the company. He's on the clock
But if the company cannot make you stand up, why are you saying it's okay to fire somebody for not standing up?
That's the same thing as me working for anybody and going out and picketing on their clock, on their hours while they're paying me. San Francisco's paying them.
I did my best. Thanks, Mike. 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Brandon in Washington. Brandon, thanks for calling the right time.
Bo, you're the man. I love the show, dude.
Appreciate it, man.
Hey, so one thing. I work too damn hard during the week. When I turn that television on Sunday to watch NFL, I want to watch football. I don't want to hear politics. If I want to hear politics, I'll put my thumb on the clicker and I'll switch it over to Clinton News Network, or I'll roll the radio dial over to some political talk radio, man. If Colin Kaepernick wants to do politics, he needs to get into an arena where politics is the game.
Hold on. It sounds like what you need to do is call the television networks and tell them that they need to stop making such a big deal of him not standing for the national anthem, because they're the ones that are putting it on television. That dude is just not standing for the national anthem because he doesn't want to do it. So I feel like you need to direct your concerns. You know what you need to do? Go to ESPN.com. They got a little contact form, and then you can hit that, and then you can try to get the politics up out your sports. Because Colin's not really the guy that's putting them in there for you. Like, you got to remember, the dude did it a second time before anybody noticed. So it's not like this is really in anybody's face until, like, media and people covering the games put it in your face, right? So it seems like you got a bigger problem with them, right?
Yeah, that's fine. I say, everybody's got a passion out.
Cool. Go ahead and send them a letter. Appreciate that. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Let's hit the phones and talk to Owen from Alabama. Owen, thanks for calling the right time.
Well, Bomani, a shout out to you and Shannon. Best in the business, for sure. I got a lot of problems with the Kaepernick situation. The first one I want to address, I think, is the fact that Kaepernick wasn't the only person who knelt or showed some kind of protest during the national anthem.
That's a great point.
The Seahawks' entire team made a statement, but no one's out here talking about, the Seahawks' whole team is bad for business. And then, second off, there are a lot of teams that are right on the cusp of either being playoff teams or being a contender when you look at a guy like Kaepernick who's taken a team to a Super Bowl already, since when do you pass on the chance to play for a championship because of optics? Like, I've just never heard of that before.
No, that is a great point. Oh, and I appreciate the call. And I hadn't really thought about that from that angle, that other guys did kneel or whatever. And also, by the way, the problem people have with Kaepernick is not that he knelt. Remember, the kneel was the compromise. The kneel was the compromise to show deference to those veterans, right? After talking to Nate Boyer, the kneeling was the compromise after just sitting over there minding his own business, right? It became a display because that became necessary in order to meet in the middle with some people who wound up being offended, even though the protest, or whatever you want to call it, was not really about them. This isn't because Colin Kaepernick knelt. This is because Colin Kaepernick didn't stand up for the national anthem, which are two different things, right? This is about the anthem as much as anything else. 888-729-3776. We got time for one more. Let's go with Mike from Phoenix. Mike, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, how's it going, Bomani? Big fan, man. Hey, I just wanted to call and chime in on the whole union aspect of it, too. If you are a union member or you are an American, period, then you got to respect the guy's right to do so, man. It has nothing to do with how he performs his job. And so, no, I think you hit the nail right on the head with that one, man.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. Thank you. Hold it down for the union. NFLPA, by the way. Kind of got some questions now. It's about time for you to do some work. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, Adidas made fools of themselves because they let LeVar Ball make fools of them, and everybody looks foolish, and you're listening to ESPN Radio.
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Okay, keep your eyes closed.
Okay.
I want to show you my first ever painting.
All right.
Okay. Open your eyes.
Oh, that's a lot of colors and shapes.
So be honest. What do you think?
Well, I like how if you switch to Geico, you could save hundreds of dollars on car insurance.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah. Here, why don't I hold your paintbrush while you call them?
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Think about this, man. Less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients, making delicious home-cooked meals. Choose from a variety of new recipes each week. They got sautéed shrimp and green beans with globe tomatoes, spinach, and orzo pasta. Or let the Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year. You'll never get bored, and customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has lots of delivery options. You can choose what fits your needs. Best part, there's no weekly commitment. You only get deliveries when you want them. Each one of those meals has got a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card. Pre-portioned ingredients, you can make them in 40 minutes or less. Their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Bomani. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. blueapron.com/Bomani. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That is at Bomani_Jones. Whew, that was quite an hour. Talked a little bit about Colin Kaepernick, but I see a phone call on hold that I just can't walk away from because I'm trying to figure out where he's going to go with it. 888-729-3776 is the number. Let's talk to Scott from Ohio. Scott, thanks for calling the right time.
Bomani, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right, man.
All right. My opinion on the Colin Kaepernick thing, I think he's a very good quarterback. I think you got a bunch of older white owners who probably have military background, and if you don't stand for the flag, there's really not much else you can do worse for them. And that's why he's not playing, and that's my opinion.
Well, I tell you this, though, and I appreciate the call. I would not assume this military background of this particular set of NFL owners. Like, we are at a point now where like the idea that all the old guys served in the military, most of those dudes are dying. Like, I'd love for somebody to go look that up, but I don't think that this is just a bunch of servicemen who, no, I don't think that's what it is. Anyway, moving on here. Oh, your man LeVar. So if you guys have not seen this, there's Adidas Summer League tournament this weekend. It's not an AAU tournament. It's an Adidas Summer League tournament, and the Big Baller Squad was in the tournament, and something happened, and once again, LeVar thought the game was cheating, or LeVar didn't like the refs. So what LeVar did was LeVar tried to pull his team, and more importantly, LeVar had tried to have the official removed. It was a woman who was officiating, and he tried to have her removed from officiating the game. I probably shouldn't say tried because it actually happened. Like Adidas pulled the woman off the floor. Right. So LeVar Ball decides this woman shouldn't be officiating anymore. Adidas, who it should be noted is still trying to get Lonzo on the program, pulled her off the floor. Now, they have had to apologize for this since. They've had to say basically that it is not it's not their corporate image and everything else. So they wound up having to apologize for that because it was so ridiculous. And, of course, Lonzo, after that game, said the woman needed to, quote, stay in her lane, which, again, would be the second time that we've heard him tell somebody that to stay in your lane, and that person happened to be a woman. Like, it's becoming pretty clear here. LeVar does not deal well with the idea of having to deal with women on the same plane as him. That's really messed up. Like, there's no way around that. Now, Gary Parrish, he writes for CBSSports.com. He also hosts a radio show on the ESPN station in Memphis. Gary wrote a very good column about this, and he's like, look, as bad as it is with LeVar, and LeVar made a fool of himself on this one, Adidas should absolutely be ashamed of themselves. And the reason why Adidas should be ashamed of themselves is they bent to this. Like, they bowed to this. They let one coach in their whole tournament make a decision of who gets to officiate their games. You can never have that. Like, I understand that these games aren't the most important in the world and they're not playing for a state championship or anything like that. But once you start letting coaches decide who the officials are, you're a half step away from fixing games. Like, if there's supposed to be any level of competition in what you're doing, forget about the sexism that's associated with it. Just the pure function of the idea that you're going to let a coach pull an official off the game, no matter who he or she happens to be. That's ridiculous. And now we got LeVar, and all right, so he went on the radio with Keyshawn, George, LZ, ESPN 710 in L.A., and LeVar says he's being targeted.
Of course I'm being unfairly targeted, but it's okay. Why wouldn't I be? They say I got a big mouth anyway. They say we bad as heck. Of course you want to try to quiet me up. That's the way I've been coaching all the time. It's just entertainment. Instead of going to the movies, people are coming to the AAU games to watch the game.
So here's the thing. He is being targeted. I just don't know about him being targeted unfairly. Right? Like, it's not as though LeVar is just magically getting all this attention. LeVar also wants this attention. He wants us looking at him. And by the way, I'm down for it. Right? Like, I'm here for the LeVar Ball show. I talked to somebody who was in Las Vegas for the tournament, and they said he has gone full-on star status. That while he's talking to the team after the game, there are 20 people standing in the hallways with iPhones to take shots of him just giving a speech to the team after the game. Like, he has become bigger than that whole circuit is. He is the biggest name on that circuit, bigger than any player or anything else. It ain't unfair. Like, you are using this platform to try to sell these shoes that I don't want to buy, right? You can't then say you're being unfairly targeted on the other end. Yeah, you are loud. Yes, you do have a big mouth, and you love every bit of being on television. Well, you're on TV now. Now, here's the part where he says it was okay to pull the team off the floor.
It's like, wow, nobody ever does it. Oh, just sit there and take the punishment. No, I ain't sitting there and taking nothing because I don't have to. And that's what I'm telling my kids. You don't have to do nothing you don't want to do. I don't care what they say.
Yes, you do. You have to do things you don't want to do all the time. What is this? Shannon, you really say you don't have to do anything you don't want to do? You got kids. You ever tried that line?
Yeah, good luck with that.
Like, that's not how this – dude, wow. You don't ever have to do anything you don't want to do. But, man, Nuno made a great point about this. He's like, look. The only good players on the big baller teams have been the balls. That's it. It's been Lonzo, LiAngelo, and LaMelo. Those have been the good players. The other players are just dudes around Chino, basically. Like, those are the kids that are like on the high school team. Those are the other guys there. These other kids ain't going to get no D1 scholarships or anything else. You ain't got to do anything you don't want. Like, it's not even like if you were going to position this as though we are in a form of protest and we're not going to stand for this poor officiating, that's different than you don't have to do what you don't want to do. Also, by the way, LeVar, how many times you think LeVar play video games? Because I want to know if he plays video games. Because you know what he would say all the time if he played video games? Game cheating. How many controllers a year you think LeVar would have to pay for? Because the game cheating. Game cheating. Like that's him. This is the second time in this summer that he's pulled a team out. Why? Game cheating. Game cheating. And now here's LeVar talking to Keyshawn, George, and LZ on ESPN 710 about, criticizing the woman who was officiating.
That's why you guys are shocked on that. I don't care if you're a ref. I don't care what you are. If you're not being fair, I'm not going to sit there and let you just do some bullshit.
Oh, was that on live radio, guys? Wow. Shannon, what you got?
I get it from his point of view of being targeted, and he's not going to stand for this and defending his players, but I don't think that was the case here. As you said, being able to have so much control and be able to dictate who the officials are, that's way too much power. And granted, they're giving him that power, but at the same time, that's too much command and control he has of the game right now.
He thinks the game is cheating. Like, he legitimately thinks the game is cheating, and then he is going to pull the team off the floor. You can't do this every tournament. Like, now, granted, people do crazy. I said this before. People do crazy stuff at AAU every week. I don't think that the same guy pulls his team off the floor every week. It's also worth noting, by the way, this is the first time this team hadn't had 2 or 3 balls on it. I don't think LeVar likes what happens. Like, the idea of my boys will just carry the team. Your boys could carry it. Now you just got one, who, by the way, is out here putting up 50 and 60 because he don't ever have to pass the ball to these other boys. Like, LaMelo gets his. This is basically LaMelo hangs out with his homeboys. Not really hangs out with his homeboys, more like work out with his homeboys, such as you pass the ball to one homeboy, he passes it back to LaMelo and he gets the shot. Like, that's what they are. You know what that is? A team full of nets. And they throw the ball against the net and then it throws it right back at you, then you put it up. That's what you need to call it, LaMelo and the Nets. Melo and the Nets. There we go. We got it right there. That's all they are. They pitchbacks. That's all it is. All right, 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Dwight from Columbia. Dwight, thanks for calling the right time.
Bomani, I'm going to tell you, you were so on it, and I just got to say this. You're on most things. But on this LeVar Ball thing, he actually had something. I'm not a real proponent of his nor a supporter, but he had something for a minute. But once he created the brand and the brand made noise, and in this day and age, he followed, it was almost a path to the White House again. But he has made the mistake that now he's going to be bigger than the entire system, and he does not have any resources to command that, and it's getting ready to topple over, and he has turned himself almost into an Anthony Scaramucci, where he has now gotten so big, they're going to have to move him out of the way because this is not good for the game. It's not good for the youth at all. But you were so on it, every point you're making. On the Kaepernick, I got to do this and hang up and listen to you. I'm going to tell you, on the Kaepernick piece that you've been covering, there is just no excuse at this point any longer for people trying to come in. I'm as patriotic as it comes, work with the State Department, been in athletics. I do local ESPN radio here. I know all the dynamics across the board, and there is nothing about the patriotic side. If you go back and look at the numbers, there's not, out of 9,000 people that were polled about 6 days ago, there wasn't 300 people that attributed their lack of interest in football and other things over the past season or two. Only 287 people said it had to do with Kaepernick. That was it. Kaepernick is being blackballed not because of that event, but because of people's specific prejudice. It's simple as that. It has nothing to do with that event. Thanks, man.
Hey, Dwight, I appreciate the call. We up on the break. Shannon, by the way, you got to vote on Dwight. What's your call?
I was trying.
I'm not sure.
I actually started Googling to see if I can pull him up.
I was going to ask you, too. It could go either way. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, we take your phone calls and talk a little more on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. Louis Riddick of ESPN will join us next segment. Louis Riddick will join us at 5:30 Eastern. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We've been talking about Colin Kaepernick a little bit. Let's hit the phones and talk to Mark from Raleigh. Mark, thanks for calling The Right Time.
Hey, what's going on, man?
Doing all right.
I got a comment on this. I'm a veteran, and me and my wife, we're veterans, and we still keep in contact with our friends that's in the military. And it seems like the people that's bashing Colin Kaepernick has no affiliate about what's going on in the military or living a lifestyle in the military or anything affiliated with the military. So I want to know, why do you think that is? Like, why do you think that the people that say they're most patriotic, saying that Colin Kaepernick is not being patriotic about sitting down, is a bad thing? Because a few years ago, I remember Brian Williams, that used to play for the Pistons. He changed his name to Bison Dele so he wouldn't stand up during the national anthem. And I don't know the outcome of that because that was over 15 years ago. I want to know, what do you think? Why do people that's not affiliated with the military seem to bash him more than people that has been affiliated with the military?
Oh, I think it's pretty easy, and I appreciate the calls, because if you say it's a disrespect to the military, that allows you to not have to acknowledge the potential that maybe you just racist. Right? So you say it's not really about you. You're not the one who's offended. You're offended because they're not showing proper respect to the military. And as I've said many, many times before, people come home from fighting these wars, and they are doing real, real bad. Like, they are out here struggling for real. And every year on Veterans Day, I always make it a point, and I don't do enough myself, to be clear, but I always make that point to remember, man, there's a lot of veterans that's out here hurting. A lot of people that's asking you for money on the street right now, cats that came back from these wars and fighting them. Like, there's a serious toll that they are taking, and they are trading in part for service to their country, in part because that's what they needed to try to find themselves a better life. You want to do something to show how much you love and honor the military, I don't care if you stand during the anthem. Do something for them, right? Like, if all you got to show your honor for the military, you're standing up, you ain't doing a damn thing. And stop pretending like you're doing anything more. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So Harrison Barnes got married this weekend. Good for Harrison Barnes for getting married. And then apparently at the reception, there's a little dance thing going on. And your man, Steph Curry, was over there with Kyrie. And then Harrison Barnes was over there. And Steph Curry started doing something that was mocking LeBron and his Instagram videos. And then Kyrie Irving was over there laughing. And then Harrison Barnes got wind of it. And then he started laughing. And everybody's like, oh, man, these boys acting like LeBron is a lame. Shannon, correct me if I'm wrong here. You tell me if I'm tripping on something here. But how would you feel? Like, would you sweat it if Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving and Harrison Barnes tried to call you lame?
That would be greatly offended if those three in particular called me a lame. Oh, no.
I'd have to laugh that off.
Nah,
okay,
you.
Yeah, my bad. I did not realize that Billy D. Williams and Slick Rick and Biggie Smalls were over here trying to teach me how to really be smooth in these streets. I had no idea. Who knew? Right? Now, we tried to have little buddy on that took the video, right? But apparently the bride, Shannon, you talked to him. It sounds like she's not pleased.
Yeah, she was like, yeah, time to shut that down. So,
what was he thinking when he put it on the internet? Right? Like, what did he think was going to happen when he put it on the internet? How was it that he thought it was going to go? You saw he said this, though. He said on Twitter, he was like, none of you have permission to use the video unless I could go on Bomani Jones' show to talk about it. And I was like, you can come on Bomani Jones' show to talk about it. And it sounds like the bride was like, who the hell is Bomani Jones? And he was like, nobody. I won't do it. Never mind. Whoops. So there they were. Just like, is LeBron on their mind to that point? Or is Kyrie, like, did Kyrie get there and get to drinking and then start complaining about his job like the rest of us do?
Truth serum.
Man, this dude at work. Like, maybe that's what it is. That's the Kyrie's new name for LeBron, man. I got this dude at work, man. My boss be tripping. He ain't even really my boss, but he act like he my boss. Right? So every time I got something I want to try to do with something, he always coming over here telling me what to do. And then I want to go talk to the boss about it, except the boss act like he the boss too. But he not the boss.
He ain't really the boss. He's like the shift manager.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I really ain't got time for that, man. How much do you think Kyrie has actually said to LeBron about these things? You think he said a word to LeBron and just like everybody knows except LeBron? Like he just stay over there on the side and just be like, yeah, man. Oh, here it come. Never mind. But there they were. By the way, shout out to all y'all who are having weddings and you might invite me to. Or anybody that other people know. Y'all got to start getting them phones at the door, man. Like, this is the 21st century. If you want people to have fun at your wedding, I think you need to start getting the phone at the door. If they want a video of the wedding, well, they can holler at your videographer. I'm sure you paid for one. I am positive that you paid for one. And I don't know about y'all, but the way I kick it, the last thing I want at a wedding is somebody taking a video. Because there's a good chance I'm trying to do something at a wedding that I don't want either of us to think about tomorrow. The reasons that we're here. 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Taylor from Tennessee. Taylor, thanks for calling the right time.
Yeah, what's up, Bomani? Along with the Kaepernick thing, what we were talking about with the Ravens and kind of how their GM kind of got out there and said that, do you not feel as though the longer it goes on, him getting blackballed by NFL teams, that the worse it's going to look, especially with what he was protesting for in comparison to like the NBA or other sports? I just like the longer it happens, the worse it's going to look in the long term.
Well, I'll tell you this, Taylor, and I appreciate the call. I don't think it can get worse than it is. Like, I think this thing has gone long enough at this point where it's pretty transparent what's going on. So I think we're going to go from a place where people stop trying to argue that there's not some level of blackballing that's going on to then try to explain why blackballing is okay. But what the Ravens did was they set fire to the excuse of it's just about football. Because Bisciotti said he's going to call sponsors, and he said that he is going to call fans, and I don't think he's going to call any of them to watch film. Like, hey, you guys help me out to determine if Colin Kaepernick can adequately read a defense. It's not what that's about to be. Hey, The Right Time is brought to you by Upside. Now save big on travel and get a big gift card every trip you buy. You'll love Upside.com. Upside.com. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, what goes into an organization deciding whether or not to bring a player that the fans might not want? We'll talk to Louis Riddick on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, just like our next guest. He's an NFL insider for us here at ESPN. His name is Louis Riddick. Now, Louis, a lot's been discussed now about the Ravens and their move where they say they're going to talk to fans and sponsors about whether or not to sign Colin Kaepernick. Now, you worked in the front office with the Eagles when they made the decision to sign Michael Vick after he'd been released from prison. How did that process go for the Eagles?
Well, I'll tell you, those are discussions that in the very end are between the ownership and Coach Andy Reid. But I will tell you this: that was a decision, just like this is a decision where ownership ultimately has to make the final call. They obviously need to feel as though the value and the benefits that they're going to derive from this transaction on the football field are enough to where it's worth continuing to pursue. It's worth continuing to bet the whole thing out, and it's worth continuing to take to the point of the ultimate discussion with ownership. But I'll tell you what, there's also very much so a component, Bomani, as you can see here with the way Steve Bisciotti has been basically polling the masses, polling his fan base, polling the people of Baltimore about how's it going to affect them, how is it going to make them feel about their organization, how's it going to make them feel about the organization's decision-making process, what they stand for, whether or not you feel as though that's the right way to do it. That's how teams are going to do it. Teams are very conscious of how they are perceived, right or wrong, in the eyes of the public. And although for some this may seem like a convenient excuse to try and maybe ultimately not make the decision not to bring him in, these are how those kinds of decisions are made when you're going forward with trying to bring in someone who does draw a lot of attention to your organization that maybe you don't want.
Now, with the Eagles, it's interesting because when they brought Vic in, they had their franchise quarterback on the roster and the ostensible quarterback of the future, and Vic just came in to run Wildcat. So I guess I'm kind of surprised in retrospect that the Eagles thought that it was worth what potentially might come with it, even though it went pretty smoothly.
Yeah, you know what, though? See, Michael is someone who Coach Reid had always admired, was always a guy who he would have loved to have coached, thought that he had a lot of talent left to still be tapped into and developed and nurtured and brought along before he went to prison. And if you know anything about Andy in particular, I mean, he loves to give people second chances to really make the most out of their life. And this is not uncommon to how a lot of people in the NFL think, which is, you know, the better you are, the more talent you have, the more tolerant they are of maybe mistakes that you have made in the past and or positions you have taken in the past, and willing to let you to continue to try and achieve and be successful. And that's why with Michael, that's the way Andy looked at it. He thought he had done his time, thought that he was very much so sorry for what he had done, was trying to make better decisions going forward, was trying to make the choices to be a better man on and off the field. And so he gave him the shot. But, I mean, I think this situation here with Colin, I mean, obviously for a myriad of different reasons, is different than that one, although I can see, why we're trying to compare the two.
All right, we're talking to Louis Riddick here on The Right Time. And so for us, it was really just a matter of like the decision-making that goes into it for teams. Now, for the Ravens, there's a football question there where their starting quarterback is not healthy and their backup quarterback doesn't seem to be very good. So we're talking strictly football. Do you think that Colin Kaepernick is as good a player or better than, say, Ryan Mallett?
Oh, yeah. That's not even an issue. And you know what? From a football perspective, look, even before all this started with Ryan, there were going to be people who really did like the uniqueness of his game, how the running component meshed with the passing component. Some people really liked that. Some people were willing to accept the fact that he was never going to probably truly be a pocket passer in the sense of some of the traditional pocket passers, because that's just not who he is. He's kind of a hybrid. And then there were people who really didn't like his game at all, even before all the other, stuff that's surrounding his name right now, who even before this stuff happened wouldn't have been very interested in bringing them in and playing in their system and their style. So I think from a football perspective, there's no doubt that he's better than Ryan Mallett. He's better than a whole lot of backup quarterbacks. But also remember this about the backup quarterback position. It's hard for people to kind of really get their minds around this right now because it's really about the social issue that everybody wants to talk about. Backup quarterbacks, all former starting quarterbacks do not necessarily make good backup quarterbacks. All right, and it's a different mentality. It's a different profile that you're looking for at that position. There's a different amount of salary cap dollars you want to allocate to that position, depending upon how much you're paying your starter. There's a lot of different things that go into that right now kind of get lost because we know that by Steve Bisciotti's own admission, what's really at the crux of this issue right now is, do we want him on our team given what he did last year? And that's unfortunate because it's pretty much a fascinating football decision also.
All right, we're talking to Louis Riddick of ESPN here on The Right Time. So you talk about some starters not making good backups. What traits are there that could make it difficult for a starter to be a good backup?
There's some starters, quite honestly, in the NFL who are just wired to be the alpha, meaning they want all the attention. They want all the reps. They want all the attention in the meeting room. They need that to stay sharp, to stay focused, to stay engaged. Backup quarterbacks don't get any love. They're very rarely talked to and coached directly one-on-one with the same kind of intensity that starters are. So during the season, they have to really learn by watching. They have to really be prepared because they're just intrinsically motivated to be ready all the time. They have to be the kind of people who are going to go home, look at their playbook without really knowing that whether or not they're going to ever get a chance to use it on the football field. And some guys, quite honestly, they tune out when they're not getting that kind of attention. They just do. That's why the profile for backups in the NFL across all positions is kind of the same in that regard. Highly intrinsically motivated people who love the game, stay motivated, don't need all the glory, are just tremendous workers, really have great passion, whatever cliche you want to use. And a lot of guys who are starters, if they're not starters, they're not going to give you very much as backups. They're just not, because once you tune them out, or not tune them out, once you're not showing them the same kind of attention that they would get as a starter, they're just not going to be ready when their number is called, more than likely. And I've seen it happen. And I don't want to put anybody on blast, but I've seen it happen firsthand.
All right, we are talking to Louis Riddick of ESPN here on The Right Time. I want to switch gears a little bit. Are you surprised that the NFL still has not issued a decision on the Ezekiel Elliott matter, though I imagine they're not going to do anything before Jerry Jones goes in the Hall of Fame?
Am I surprised? No, because you know how these things drag themselves out, how the NFL, for whatever reason, whatever process that they go through as far as gathering information, getting together, issuing a ruling, and making sure it's one that's fair and equitable. You know that they're very inconsistent when it comes to that. I think the longer it goes on, you would assume it's because that right now they really don't have anything concrete and really trying to figure out what it is that they do have and how they can turn that into a punishment and or let the whole case just kind of go away. I mean, I really don't know. I mean, I've a long time ago, decided to stop trying to figure out exactly what their process really is up there. They operate on their own timetable, and they do their thing the way they want to do it. So I guess we're all just kind of waiting to see what that exactly is.
All right, that is Louis Riddick, front office insider for us here at ESPN covering the NFL. Thanks so much, my man. I appreciate it.
You got it, Bomani. Thanks.
All right, now, ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, creators of the Name Your Price tool. Choose from a range of coverage options to pick the price that works for you.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Louis Riddick of ESPN for joining us the last segment. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We had a very, very interesting weekend in baseball. Two big things happened. One, we had the Hall of Fame induction ceremony. Pudge Rodriguez got in the Hall of Fame. Jeff Bagwell got into the Hall of Fame. And also, the countdown is over. Adrian Beltre has gotten his 3,000 hit. Now, we were just kind of jokingly on here talking about how, just to remind you, Adrian Beltre is X amount of hits from 3,000, right? Because nobody seemed to pay any level of attention. Dude, back in the day, it didn't matter who it was, right? If you got to 3,000 hits, we cared, right? Like, we're breaking into games and everything else. If you got into 3,000 hits, we cared. That was a guaranteed sign also that you would get into the Hall of Fame. Now, that's a little shakier now that, like, raw numbers don't do it in the same way. But typically, if you were good enough to play long enough to get 3,000 hits, then you were going to be a Hall of Famer. Dude, Adrian Beltre has 3,000 hits. Adrian Beltre is also in the top 20 in, I think, defensive WAR all time. And, by the way, 3,000 hits at third base. And you have to remember, third base is a position without very many good players, like historically great players. At one point, like when I was a kid, I want to say there were 5 third basemen. I think Mike Schmidt might have been the 5th or 6th third baseman to go into the Hall of Fame. Like, it's just not a position that has produced a lot of great players. Like, I'm looking at a list now, like the greatest third baseman of all time. Man, it doesn't take long before you got to get to the olden days. Scott Rowland is in the top 10 on this list I'm looking at right now of all-time third basemen. There's also an interesting collection of stats that say Adrian Beltre is a Hall of Famer. I saw one, like the Hall of Fame predictors on Baseball Reference. He rates pretty favorably, career WAR, 7-year peak WAR, all that. Like, he's up there in all those things. I had never thought for a moment in my life as to whether or not Adrian Beltre was a Hall of Famer until recently. And it's not because Adrian Beltre isn't good. It's because I just don't think about baseball like that anymore. By the way, Shannon, did anybody touch him on the back of the head after he got his 3,000 hit, or did nobody want to die on this special day?
Nope, somebody did. Andrew Jones of the Orioles came out and congratulated him and touched him on his head.
Adam.
Excuse me.
Got to be Adam, right?
Yeah, Adam Jones. Sorry about
that. Because I was really like, word.
Adam Jones of the Orioles did that, and Beltre, let's just say he got him back.
I was about to say, I feel like touching Beltre's head is like tickling my mama. Like, my mama is the nicest woman in the world. She does not like when people tickle her. It's stop it, and then you get punched in the jaw.
Just to say, Beltre got him back. You'll see the clip. He got him back.
He got him back.
Swiftly.
He got him back. But that's just us. Like, baseball is like general topic in that way. Like, remember the Hall of Fame weekend used to be such a big deal all the time, and we break into it. I didn't know the Hall of Fame thing was going on until it was going on. Like, I did not know at all. We've had, like, this crazy reversal that's happened where the NFL Hall of Fame ceremony was never really a big deal, as I recall, when I was younger. Now, that's the thing. NFL Network do the big thing. Everybody's going to be out there, like the trips and everything else. Like, that is now a thing. Baseball Hall of Fame weekend, we are not tripping on this anymore. Right? And the thing about the Hall of Fame that we're not tripping on that makes it weird is, like, I'm a person who likes baseball but doesn't follow baseball anymore. So it can be tricky when you talk about guys who are playing now and names and all of that stuff, right? Dude, the Hall of Fame, these are the dudes that I know. Like, I know Pudge Rodriguez. There's Jeff Bagwell, but the problem, and I grew up in Houston, but here's the problem with those two guys, man. Those are two guys that we had real steroid discussions about, where Pudge Rodriguez was on Jose Canseco's list, And Jeff Bagwell, we just got him by full-on association. You're like, yeah, he seemed like a guy who'd use steroids. We have nothing. We have no evidence he didn't even get 500 home runs in his career, none of that. We're just like, yeah, seems like it. That seems like a guy who would do that, and nobody wants to talk about that anymore. So maybe that's part of it with the Baseball Hall of Fame now, is that we're going to go through a run of years where everybody is evaluated in the context of performance-enhancing drugs. Now, let me ask this. If they ever get their wits about them and finally put in the greatest baseball player of the last 50 years into the Hall of Fame, that would be one Barry Lamar Bonds. Will we care then? Will we? Like, I'm serious. Like, I don't know. Will we care then? Like, is that what it's going to take to make people care about the Baseball Hall of Fame again, is that they start letting in some of our heroes? Well, not that Barry Bonds my hero, but you understand what I'm saying. Is that what it's going to take? I'm very curious in that regard, because I do find it to be a little bit interesting that we don't even care about the guys now that we used to care about. And I'm not getting into this, nobody watches baseball. Yes, on a local level, people do watch baseball. But there was a national level of concern for the weekend in Cooperstown that just isn't there anymore. Like, think about this, Shannon. We're probably going to have a generation of kids where the word Cooperstown doesn't mean what it means to us.
It held a special place. Like, yeah, I had heard Canton before, and that's all well and good. But Cooperstown, like, that meant something. That was like, that put you in a place.
It meant something. I don't know if Cooperstown's going to mean anything to the youngsters. Because the Baseball Hall of Fame, if it doesn't mean anything to me, I don't know what the hell it's supposed to mean to them. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Hit the phone. Talk to Hayden in Toledo. Hayden, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, Bomani. Thanks for taking my call, man. How you doing today?
Doing all right, man.
Hey, so I want to preface this by saying I'm white and I'm a veteran. I think it's important to my points here. Man, I'm getting more fired up every day about this Kaepernick stuff. 99% of all of my peers that served with me and around me could not care less about his stance, about the way he is protesting. Don't feel it's disrespecting the flag. I know a guy earlier mentioned that same thing with him and his wife. I want to follow that by saying these are the same people that I see on social media, on where I'm having conversations with, that can't wait to see this Conor McGregor fight because they want to see Floyd Mayweather get beat. This is the same, so we're talking about an Irishman versus an American. What do you think that those same people want to be patriotic, want to support the person from America? And then on the flip side of that, those are the same exact people that have been upset with LeVar Ball from the beginning because of the way he's carried himself. I mean, how is the way LeVar Ball, okay, sure, lately he's made some comments and things like that have not been so great. But prior to, how's the way he's carried himself any different from the way Conor McGregor's carried himself the last year or two? Please explain, because, I can't tell you different, between the way they have and the way they've gone about things, pretty much the same exact way. These are the same exact people that, condemn LeVar, praise Conor, and then also couldn't be happier that Colin Kaepernick still hasn't found his way onto an NFL roster.
Hey, Hayden, I got to say, that is one of the best calls that we've ever had, because they told me you were going to work together, and I appreciate the call, with Conor McGregor and Floyd and LeVar Ball and Kaepernick, and put them together, and it all made sense. By the way, we knew you were white, and your name is Hayden. 888-729-3776, that's our telephone number. Coming up next, Steph Curry. Y'all still think he's nice?
Thanks for listening to the Right Time Podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million. What color is the White House?
I know this.
5 seconds.
Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo!
Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.
Blue Apron is the #1 fresh ingredient and recipe delivery service in the country. Think about this, man. Less than $10 per person per meal. Blue Apron delivers seasonal recipes along with pre-portioned ingredients, making delicious home-cooked meals. Choose from a variety of new recipes each week. They got sautéed shrimp and green beans with globe tomatoes, spinach, and orzo pasta. Or let the Blue Apron's culinary team surprise you. Recipes are not repeated within a year. You'll never get bored, and customize your recipes each week based on your preferences. Blue Apron has lots of delivery options. You can choose what fits your needs. Best part, there's no weekly commitment. You only get deliveries when you want them. Each one of those meals has got a step-by-step, easy-to-follow recipe card. Pre-portioned ingredients, you can make them in 40 minutes or less. Their freshness guarantee promises that every ingredient in your delivery arrives ready to cook, or they'll make it right. Check out this week's menu and get your first 3 meals free with free shipping by going to blueapron.com/Bomani. You'll love how good it feels and tastes to create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron, so don't wait. blueapron.com/Bomani. Blue Apron, a better way to cook.
Welcome to the Right Time Podcast. The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. You can send us a tweet at the 1-800-Flowers.com Twitter feed. That's at Bomani_Jones. And I got to say, man, I kind of want to get all NBA players off the Twitter. Not off the Twitter. Okay, because I like them on Twitter. It can be fun. But, man, all the passive-aggressive stuff and everything that winds up coming from it, like, it's good for business for us because we get so much content off of this. But, man, for real, some dudes went to a wedding and started dancing, and now we got a real-life story out of it, and it's not really my fault. It's just the NBA players can't help themselves from being petty. Now, you may have seen the video over the weekend of Steph Curry at Harrison Barnes' wedding, mocking LeBron James in his workout videos. Now, to be fair, Steph Curry did not put this out himself. Some random dude put this out without the permission of the bride. We tried to have him on the show. Tell him what happened when we tried to have him on the show, Shannon.
She shut that down.
The bride. And this is not the groom, by the way. The bride shut that down because that dude messed around and violated the sanctity of the matrimony. But anyway, it's Steph Curry making the faces like LeBron when he's working out. And, of course, it's Kyrie Irving right next to him laughing about it. And then Harrison Barnes comes over and he laughs too. And it's kind of hard to put on the cape for LeBron James because LeBron do so much lame stuff on the internet himself, like sitting there listening to the Meek Mill, Heavy Heart, and all the subtweeting about Kevin Love and all of these other things. Like, it's all so passive-aggressive, every single bit of it. And then there's Kyrie at this wedding, and people have asked, why would Kyrie be at that wedding? Kyrie and Barnes were cool back in high school. Like, as I recall, they said Kyrie was the only guy on the circuit that Harrison Barnes actually liked when Harrison Barnes was like the #1 dude on the circuit. But anyway, they get out there and they start doing this. And I had a couple thoughts about what happened with this video. Thought number one, if you're going to have a wedding with famous people, man, you gotta check them phones at the door. Like, I don't know if you've been to a Dave Chappelle or a Chris Rock show lately. I know other people do it, but I've seen it at these shows where they give you the pouch that you can put your phone in. You got to start handing out that phone pouch, man, because people out here blowing up the spot. Like this dude who wouldn't come on our radio show because the bride told him not to. Why? Because he blew up the spot, and he knew he wasn't supposed to blow up the spot. Nobody wins when you're out here blowing up the spot. That's thought number one. Thought number two, Shannon, people still acting like Steph Curry so nice and humble.
He's still a humble champion, right? Is that what it is? He's still the humble champion?
Dude, Steph is petty. Steph's a jerk in the way the guys in that position always are jerks. The one thing I find to be interesting about it is the Steph-LeBron thing, from what we've read, has come down to the fact that Steph and LeBron used to be cool. And then Steph, got on the level of LeBron. And then LeBron was like, nah, we not cool no more. You the competition. Steph at once wants to be the killer, but he wants us to like him as though he's not. And I feel like you can't really be both. Like, if you're going to be the killer, that's fine. But don't get mad when people don't like you because of you being the killer. There are very few people like Michael Jordan who are the killer and they make us like them for being the killer while never denying that he was the killer. Steph is always like, nope, wasn't me. It's a whodunit. I'm not the killer, but wants to be the killer. If you're the killer, be the killer. Don't come back and be the nice guy on the other side, man. Be the killer the whole way.
So you're telling me that Steph is a game of Clue?
Yes, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. You know what it is? Steph tried to hang out in the envelope. That's right. He's the killer, but he doesn't want you to know that he's the killer. But, bro, we done gone through all the cards, man. I asked about Professor Plum. It ain't him. Colonel Mustard. It's not him. Miss Scarlet, over in the corner smoking cigarettes. By the way, Shannon, there are no black characters on Clue, are there?
Believe so.
Is there one? I don't think there's one. Because I feel like if there was one, everybody would always accuse him of doing it. It would be him every single time, whether they had evidence or not. It'd be a bad idea and everything. It'd be Professor Plum and the eyewitness be like, "No, I saw him. It was the other dude." Anyway, Steph wants to be the killer, but Steph does not want us to treat him like he is the killer. And if you're going to be a killer, be a killer. That's the only way around it. The other one is, hey, Kyrie, you can't be. Granted, I know you didn't know you were on camera. See, that's the whole thing about this is if these cats are like posed for this, it would be different. But with Kyrie, come on, man, you can't be this. It can't be you. There are no black Clue characters, by the way, Shannon.
No.
Can we come up with a modern Clue with more modern weapons, or just more realistic weapons, like as opposed to the lead pipe, the tire tool? The tire tool is a favorite of old people when they like to threaten you. My dad, I'm gonna go get my tire tool. He's always about the tire tool. What else? Can we get it with the Glock? I feel like the revolver is kind of antiquated.
Unloaded pistol, just for the pistol whipping.
Great point. See, the problem is, though, Clue is always a murder rather than a vicious aggravated assault, which is where the pistol whipping often goes. Rarely does the pistol whipping venture into murder. Like, when's the last time you read a newspaper story about a dude getting pistol whipped to death? Somebody pistol whip you, they want you to live to remember it. They want you to go tell somebody, remember who did this look at me. I did this to you. Like, I bet they pistol whipped R. Kelly before they dropped him off in the desert.
We get a shank made out of a toothbrush.
There's Miss Scarlet with the X-Acto knife that she keeps in her purse in the sunroom. Anyway, I was saying I didn't want the NBA players on the social media being petty, but then no. I want them on the social media, because if they're not on the social media, then we don't get Melo out here still. Baby, I'm begging, baby. You see him begging this weekend?
That was the ultimate no-trade clause right there, that picture.
He put the picture up of Lala with the emojis, and I'm like, Melo, who is telling you that this is a good idea? Send her flowers. Flowers work better. I promise. You rich. You can send her the best flowers. All Melo is ever doing is put it out here in front of us, and all any of us are doing is laughing. That's it. Have you heard of any one person that's looked at Melo putting all this stuff up and been like, oh, come on, you ought to give Melo another chance? Nah. Sorry, partner. You're not Issa. You're not going to cheat and people be like, y'all ought to work this out. No. You came back with a souvenir. You need to give up on this. Like you need it, this here needs to be a wrap. Y'all needed a plan beforehand. Nope. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Shannon, can you imagine what would have happened if somebody would have sent one of these videos out from LeBron's wedding?
Oh, my goodness. Could you imagine?
First of all, you wouldn't have been able to. Why? Because somebody would have stomped you out. I don't know which one. It might have been Mav, Randy, Rich Paul, just some dude from Akron, Gloria. Because you always got to have somebody at your wedding that's prepared for the throwdown, right? There needs to be one person. Ain't going to be no Dwayne Wade moments. Not Dwayne Wade, Dwayne Wayne. Ain't going to be no Dwayne Wade moments. The most unrealistic scene in television history. How Dwayne ain't get stomped out halfway down the aisle?
How do you make it all the way down the aisle?
Yes. And it's funny because Byron's like, what the hell are you doing to Dwayne? You need to be looking at Whitley and be like, yo, where the hell are you going? Stop right here. Oh, wait a minute. Brother from another planet was so mad he wanted to pull his eye out and throw it at them both. That was Brother from Another Planet, right?
Oh, you're talking about, Orlando? Oh, yeah.
Byron,
yeah. And one of his groomsmen, his brother was Orlando Jones as well in that.
Really?
Yeah.
He needed one groomsman that was ready. You got to have one groomsman that is all the way ready. Somebody always got a bright idea. This is my last chance. No. Your last chance was 2 weeks ago. This is your no chance.
And you see how when the dudes did grab Dwayne, that Ron was ready, though. Ron was ready to step up.
What's Ron going to do?
He was ready. I don't know what he would have done, but he was ready, just in case.
You're going to need to come more than 2 deep. You come to wreck a wedding, you're going to need to come more than 2 deep. Why? Because somebody paid for that wedding. And one thing I've learned about people when they pay for weddings, that wedding will be completed. The marriage certificate may not be filed, but that wedding will be completed. How the hell did we get there? Nothing makes makes the summer, birthday, or anniversary more magical than 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, when you order a dozen multicolored roses for only $29.99, you'll get another dozen absolutely free. Go to 1-800-Flowers.com/ESPN. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next, we got your phone calls. And also, I'll tell you the biggest mistake that LeVar Ball has made. Find out what that is on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. We are presented by Progressive Insurance. That's the old soul song of the day, Paul Revere by the Beastie Boys. I know we don't do a lot of rap on the old soul song of the day, but Shannon, this is 31 years old.
Can you repeat that for me, please?
I mean, it's 1986, right?
Oh, this is 2017. Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We talking about Kyrie and Steph Curry yucking it up at the wedding on that video, making fun of LeBron. I say people need to start scooping these phones when people get in the wedding reception so that everybody can feel like they can have a good time. Let's hit the phones. Talk to Francis in Maryland. Francis, thanks for calling The Right Time.
Hey, what's going on, bro?
What's going on, man?
One of the things that you touched on, one of the things that I always have an issue with when people say that wedding scene is one of the greatest things in TV history, because for me, I actually say that the people that they shouldn't have been afraid of was not his boys, Byron's boys, because I will forever judge Byron for his boys not stepping up, but actually Byron's girl cousins. Because normally, if you get ready for a wedding, there's a lot more that goes into it than, say, your friend that just has to get a tuxedo and everything. There's a lot that goes into it. And if all of a sudden somebody comes and messes up your cousin's wedding, I feel like the feeling might be a little bit more in terms of how, let's just say, things are taken care of coming more from the girl cousin.
You raise a great point, because as I think about weddings and the people who are most prepared to set it off if offset need to be done, it is always the girl cousins.
Yeah, it's always the girl cousin.
Well, because the girl cousin always just wants the girl cousin we're talking about always just wants a reason to fight. Right,
yeah,
like she won't, like, this is a justified excuse to stomp somebody out, and America loves justified excuses to stomp people out.
That is true, but I would also say that the girl cousin line can be crossed over, because if you were looking forward to an occasion for whatever, just to some way show out, and you did all of this, and now you don't have that opportunity because this has been taken over by somebody disrespecting your family. I feel like there might be, even the girl cousin who normally does not fight might be compelled to at least address the situation.
And the big reason is that woman in that circumstance would want somebody to stomp someone out for them if their wedding was being ruined. Pay it forward.
That's all I had to say, man.
Hey, friends, I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you soon. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. By the way, Adam Schefter is reporting that there will be no Ezekiel Elliott decision this week, definitely not before the Hall of Fame. And apparently a panel of law enforcement and judicial authorities were present for Zeke's meeting with the league. Apparently they are reviewing the case. They'll give their ideas on it to the commissioner, because apparently the personal conduct policy allows the league to get views from external expert advisors. And I feel like that last part shouldn't have to be explained. Yeah, the conduct policy says that we can try to make an informed decision. Anyway, LeVar Ball acted up this weekend, pulled the team off again, played himself as a sexist in public again. And, well, here's LeVar saying he feels like he's being unfairly targeted.
Of course I'm being unfairly targeted, but it's okay. Why wouldn't I be? They say I got a big mouth anyway. They say we bad as heck. Of course you want to try to quiet me up. That's the way I've been coaching all the time. It's just entertainment. Instead of going to the movies, people are coming to the AAU game to watch a game.
See, that's the thing, man, is he loves every minute of his attention, which I don't blame him for, right? He likes the attention. Look, I work in television, so I only get to do so much judging of people because they happen to like the attention. The thing, though, LeVar has accidentally hustled backwards on this by hustling too well going forward, which is to say, we shouldn't know so much about this dude. This dude shouldn't be as upfront and famous as he is. As a result, he's now like subjected to a light that most civilians, and by and large he is a civilian, most civilians could not withstand that scrutiny. Like, we're not supposed to know this much about him. We're supposed to laugh at him every now and then. Like, you think about this. LeBron's mama. we all know who LeBron's mama is, right? Some of y'all might have jokes about LeBron's mama, but we don't really be hearing from LeBron's mama. You just wind up making jokes about it, but we don't ever actually hear from her. Kevin Durant's mama, yeah, she out there all the time, don't get me wrong, but we don't really know that much about Wanda. Wanda's be out there being nice, acting like somebody's mama. LeVar Ball is like, yo, they are coming to talk to me and not my boy, which, by the way, is correct. We are coming to talk to him and not his boys. But we're not supposed to know him this well. So what happens is we're going to hear him talk more and more and more, and he's going to make himself look more and more and more foolish in the process because he's not doing the calculus that most people do when they are as exposed as he is right now. I don't think he's doing the calculus because he doesn't want to do the calculus. He's like, this doesn't matter, and he really does seem to see himself as an entertainer. And I do like the idea of Coach as entertainer. Like, it's funny, if you ever get a chance to talk to Bob Ryan, talk to Bob Ryan about how much he loves Joey Crawford. And every basketball fan hates Joey Crawford, but Bob Ryan longs for the days when the officials were entertaining. Like, he longs for the days where the officials had egos and they dialed it up before they made calls and everything else. Why? He's just like, that's entertainment. There's nothing wrong with this being entertaining in that way. And LeVar is kicking it in that same way. He's like, look, people coming out here to see AAU ball and they coming to see me. And he's right. Now, while they're there to see him, they are going to wind up seeing his boy. But he is correct. They are coming there to see him. And how have we created a circumstance under which LeVar Ball is in a position where anybody is actually coming to see him? Right? The other part of that, too, it ain't like he getting no cut of the gate at the AAU tournaments. Like, one thing about LeVar, as far as it goes to AAU and summer basketball, you got to remember, he's not taking shoe company money, man. Like, that's a team of his kids and kids from the neighborhood, basically. And Shannon, we talked about this earlier. Them other boys are no good.
It's just the ball boys. Those teams that were good, it was the balls and a bunch of dudes from Chino.
Yep, them other dudes are not good. They're not, right? Like, I said this on television, and ESPN put it on Instagram, and they cut the clip, and it then wound up seeming more inflammatory than it was. But I was like, LeVar is a lot that we want basketball to be. And what I said after that is he's not taking the shoe company money. Like, this is a father spending time with his kids through coaching and bringing the other kids from the neighborhood along for the ride. If the right person does that, we see that as being like a beautiful thing. The problem is the person who's doing it is loud as hell, right? Loud as hell and unapologetic in areas where you got to apologize, man. Like, the way he has talked about women as they've been around sports is mad problematic. There's no way around that. And you can say he's being unfairly targeted somewhat, right? Like, you get into this weird gray area where you got a black dude that's wilding out, and even if you say he's wilding out, people going to go way too far in describing how he's wilding out. And so I have to, like, avoid the temptation to defend someone who's done something I think is indefensible because people are wilding out as hard as he wilded out in the first place to motivate them to say that he was wilding out, which therefore meant that they wilded out because he had wilded out in the first place. Yeah, that's right. I got him all right. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. We talking about the wedding from a different world and how Dwayne got all the way down the aisle and nobody stomped him out on the way, which we find to be preposterous. City Falls, talk to Femi in Brooklyn. Femi, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, Bo?
Doing all right.
All right, man. Yo, big fan. Love talking, listen to you and Shannon. And, yeah, your boys in North Carolina, rodding them. But, I wanted to call in and say the reason why, Dwayne didn't get stomped out, home team advantage. Who's going to stomp out? They got married on campus, right?
Oh, good call.
They weren't on campus. No, they were away from campus. They were still in Virginia, but they were away from campus because it was, I think, Whitley's people's house.
That's right. She's from Virginia.
Right.
Okay, but didn't they have, more of the people from, the show in the wedding party?
Yeah, they were there. But but here's the problem. Yeah, those people might have been there, but Dwayne, you a state senator. You ain't got no body, man. Like, where's your Reggie Love to go out here and shut this situation down?
Well, hey, man, that's on Byron and Orlando, man. Talk to them.
Yeah, no, that's the problem, man. Appreciate the call. No, man. Like I said, I thought Byron was too busy taking his eye out to realize what was going on.
See, the most disrespectful part of the whole thing, it wasn't that Dwayne broke up the wedding. People get their weddings broken up every day, B. That wasn't the most disrespectful part. The most disrespectful part was after Byron left, and the pastor was like, are we going to have a wedding? Are we going to have a wedding? So then Whitley and Dwayne got married.
Yeah.
They went and got married. Like, he stood in Byron's spot at the altar and married Whitley in her wedding dress that she was going to wear to marry Byron.
No, my thing is, I'm not leaving. Y'all can leave. I don't care if it's your mama's house or not. I'm standing right here until I get an explanation that I find to be sufficient for what the hell is going on here. Wow, we made that a segment. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Coming up next, we've been talking about what's going on with Colin Kaepernick and the Ravens, or what's not going on with Kaepernick and the Ravens. We got your phone calls and more on ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, SiriusXM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. All guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. So, you know, this whole Kaepernick-Ravens thing. Here's the owner of the Ravens, Steve Bisciotti, basically saying this is not a football matter, even though a whole lot of people just say Kaepernick ain't good enough to play football.
Do want to win games, and I'm not sure right now that he is going to help us do that. You know, we're monitoring Joe. We've talked to Joe about it. We're monitoring Mallet. We're keeping our door open. We talked about RG3, bringing him in for a workout. We're very sensitive to it, and we're monitoring it, and we're still, as Ozzie says, scrimmaging it, and we're trying to figure out what's the right tact, and so pray for us.
Pray for us. Pray for us. I also still can't believe we're thinking about bringing in RG3. Why? Now, I do think it's kind of absurd that you called the realtor before you called Robert Griffin. But, I mean, okay, if you say so. But forget about that. He called Ray Lewis. He wanted to consult Ray Lewis. And, I mean, you get the opinions you can get, I suppose. So he called Ray Lewis. And, again, he is calling a man who said this before the 2011 lockout.
We really got to remove pride. Seriously. There's no other reason the issue is going on. That's why I don't get into word and a lot of all that other stuff, because it takes away from life itself. Man, there are people who's really struggling. For real. There's real struggles out there. What we're going through right now, we're affecting way more than us.
How so?
It's too many people live through us. Yeah. Walk in the streets the way I walk the streets.
People who work in stadiums.
Yes.
Fans.
Yes. Yes. Do this research if we don't have a season. Watch how much evil, which we call it crime, watch how much crime picks up if you take away our game.
Why do you think that would happen?
There's nothing else to do, Sal.
Noted criminologist Ray Lewis. That's who Steve Bisciotti calling for advice.
What we call this crime?
Evil, which we call. He said it was going to be a crime wave if there was a lockout. And I'm just saying, Ray, stop calling Kaepernick for robbing somebody. Help the man get a job. Since it's going to be a crime wave. 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. Hit the phone. Talk to Nick from Indiana. Nick, thanks for calling the right time.
Thank you, Bomani. Big fan.
Thank you, man.
Hey, so I just kind of thought of this as kind of like a funny exercise. I know this whole Colin Kaepernick's played out, and I'm tired of hearing you argue with the same knuckleheads over and over and over again. But I was thinking about this. What if this were to happen in like the MLB or the NBA? Because if you think of the stereotypical NFL fan, it kind of makes sense it's blowing up like this. But like in the NBA, probably not going to be a big deal if something like this happens. But I think it'd be kind of funny to explore, like, you know, who would it be, like Boogie Cousins or something?
Well, hold on. Let me ask you this, though. Now, how old are you?
28.
Okay, I asked you that because I figured you were too young to remember. We have seen this happen in the NBA, and it was with Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf, and it blew up. And I appreciate the call. The thing you got to remember about the NBA is the NBA actually has it in the rules that you have to stand for the national anthem if you're going to be out there. Like, they have it written down that you have to do it. Now, the other part is, even if they did not have it down, no, it would still jump off. It would jump off in a different way, though. It wouldn't necessarily be NBA fans, but it'd be, I hate the NBA guy popping up front and center. You better believe it would be a thing. And the NBA would be shook. You know how shook the NBA was and they thought dudes were going to do it? They're like, oh, no, we got to figure something out. We got to figure. Our league can't stand this, right? So I think the NFL, no, this won't mess up the NFL's business. The NBA is like, whoa, not so fast, my friend. They always looking for a reason to quit us.
Well, think about a couple years ago with the T-shirts and the hoodies and things like that.
Now, let me tell you, people always looking for a reason to quit the NBA. They feel guilty about watching it in the first place. The NFL, they're like, well, I ain't doing nothing else on Sunday. All right, 888-729-3776. Let's talk to Nigel from Canada. Nigel, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, man. Hey, Bomani, thanks for taking my call, man.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate the stuff you do. To hear educated black people talk is a pleasure, and you're certainly at the top of my list.
Appreciate it, man.
Listen, I don't understand this Kaepernick stuff. I really don't, because who do we consider to be the greatest? Muhammad Ali, right? Muhammad Ali went through maybe not the exact same thing, but a lot of similar stuff, and he faced his detractors. But yet, in the end, I'm pretty sure all of those owners who aren't signing Colin Kaepernick, if Muhammad Ali was still alive and walked into their stadium, they'd be rolling out the red carpet for the guy that people said was, anti-American and all this other stuff. What has Colin Kaepernick done so wrong that he does not deserve a job? As a person who has actually gone to foreign countries, served under a flag, and fired his weapon in self-defense and anger, I don't think we are the ones that should be saying, oh, you did this or you did that, and those people are not. It's the idiots who have done nothing want to open their mouths and talk. That man deserves a job. Thanks for taking a call, bro.
Hey, man, I appreciate it, Nigel. The one thing, though, that I already forgot what I was going to say. It's been a long day, guys. Evil, which we call crime, that will never stop being funny. Like, I'm actually glad he said that thing about consulting Ray Lewis, because I'm like, oh, we can play that sound again. Fantastic.
The comparisons with Kaepernick and Muhammad Ali are too common.
Yes, they are. One, Ali was at war with the federal government, which is a little bit of a different animal. But the one point I would make is people love Muhammad Ali right now. You know, one step Muhammad Ali took to getting back into good graces with a lot of people, calling Joe Frazier a monkey. That's what it was. And that's something Colin Kaepernick I don't think he's about to do. 888-729-3776 on the Brian in Ohio. Brian, thanks for calling the right time.
Hey, Bomani, thank you, man. I really appreciate listening to you on the radio. I always laugh, or at least find something to say that's interesting. So, I just want to thank you for making my drive home much better.
Thank you.
About the Colin Kaepernick thing, I hear everyone talk about him being a backup or a starter. My question is, how much will he actually cost the team to be a backup? I mean, is it going to be $3 or $4 million a year? Is he going to ask for more? You know, what would the contract actually be? Because once I know the numbers, then I'd be more apt to saying, yeah, I'd want him on my team, or let's not spend that much money because we have other holes to fill. Well, I just kind of want to know what your opinion is on that, because I think if he's asking for $4 or $5 million, I think certain teams just can't afford that for a backup.
I think you're correct, but I would say the way to find out what he's asking for is to ask him, and teams haven't done that, right? Like, they are in a position. They got his number. They can call to find out what the number is that he wants. We have yet to reach a point where any team has gone far enough with Kaepernick where that's been a real discussion, at least that anybody knows anything about. So, I get your point, and I appreciate the call, the idea, well, maybe he's asking for too much. The NFL teams don't seem curious as to whether or not he's asking for too much because they're not trying to find out what he's asking for. All right, 888-729-3776. That is our telephone number. Coming up next to catch you up on what you haven't heard today, including the best phone call perhaps in the history of the right time that does not involve DJ Mike Hitman. You're listening to ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80.
The Right Time with Bomani Jones.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to The Right Time. My name is Bomani Jones. Thanks for listening on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app. Our guests join us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Thanks to Louis Riddick of ESPN for joining us in the 5 o'clock Eastern hour. Thanks to Mike Freeman of Bleacher Report for joining us in the 4 o'clock Eastern hour. Remember, if you miss anything live, check out the Right Time podcast, available on the ESPN app. Get instant gold status at Shell. Join the Fuel Rewards program now at fuelrewards.com/gold. All right, 888-729-3776. That's our telephone number. All right, Shannon, what we miss out on today?
We know you can't be on top of all the news and information of the day. Now, if you haven't heard.
All right, so usually in If You Haven't Heard, we have the big topic of the day, and we'll play a clip or some audio of Bomani discussing said topic. Well, today we had three really big topics in Colin Kaepernick, Ravens, LeVar Ball, and, of course, the wedding video of Steph and Kyrie mocking LeBron. So instead of choosing one of those, we have a call from earlier today, Hayden and Toledo, who can recap all three better than we did.
I want to preface this by saying I'm white and I'm a veteran. I think it's important to my points here. Man, I'm getting more fired up every day about this Kaepernick stuff. You know, 99% of all of my peers that served with me and around me could not care less about his stance, about the way he is protesting. Don't feel it's disrespecting the flag. I know a guy earlier mentioned that same thing with him and his wife. I want to follow that by saying these are the same people that I see on social media, on, where I'm having conversations with that can't wait to see this Conor McGregor fight because they want to see Floyd Mayweather get beat. This is the same, so we're talking about an Irishman versus an American. What do you think that those same people want to be patriotic, want to support the person from America? And then on the flip side of that, those are the same exact people that have been upset with LeVar Ball from the beginning because of the way he's carried himself. I mean, how is the way LeVar Ball, okay, sure, lately he's made some comments and things like that have not been so great. But prior to, how's the way he's carried himself any different from the way Conor McGregor's carried himself the last year or two? Please explain, because, I can't tell you different, between the way they have and the way they've gone about things, pretty much the same exact way. These are the same exact people that, condemn LeVar, praise Conor, and then also, couldn't be happier that Colin Kaepernick still hasn't found his way onto an NFL roster.
From now on, we should have Hayden Toledo start doing If You Haven't Heard.
Yo, that was kind of boss, man. He made it around, and I saw a picture of him on the Twitter. He's a little younger than I thought he was, too, man. Like, he hit the points, and he got around on it. And, he raises a lot of fair points, and he's right. A whole lot of people that hate LeVar Ball are going to be rooting for Conor McGregor to beat Floyd Mayweather, the American, and then say they defended America in the name of Colin Kaepernick. Though, to be fair, I think it's okay to want to see Floyd lose just on GP.
So we initially assumed that for Cubs fans, they were able to put the whole Steve Bartman thing behind them once the Cubs got a ring. Well, now the Cubs have officially put the Steve Bartman situation behind him. Why? Because Steve Bartman is receiving a 2016 Chicago Cubs World Series championship ring. So Cubs fans, I say to you, if the Cubs themselves have put this behind them, it is now time for you to put it behind you as well. I can say that because I'm not a fan of the Cubs.
Yeah, but I would imagine they good by now, man. Like, now that they got their ring, I don't know if you've noticed, Cleveland people ain't nearly as miserable as they used to be, at least in public, after they got that championship. I would like to think the Cubs fans had let it go. That being said, if I'm Bart, man, I'm like, yo, I appreciate that ring and everything. How about, can I get those 12 years of my life back, please? Is that too much for me to ask to get a little bit of my life back? The 13 years, rather?
And I get what you're saying about Cleveland fans, but once this Kyrie trade does eventually go down, let's see how many jerseys we'll see burning. That chip was cool and everything.
It will be interesting.
We'll see those jerseys.
And you said that chip was cool. Chip.
Singular.
I thought you said something else myself.
No.
Whoa!
Yeah, no.
Oh, he said chip.
Yeah, championship. All right, staying in the association where newly acquired Danilo Gallinari for the Clippers, their big free agent acquisition if you don't include re-signing Blake Griffin. He got a little trill over there in the EuroLeague playing for his home country of Italy. Punched another player, injured his hand, expected to be out 3 to 4 weeks.
A couple weeks ago, I met some people that said they met Danilo Gallinari and that he stayed at their house and slept on an air mattress.
What? Wait. What?
It's a long story, but it happened.
The Rooster? Really?
The Rooster slept on an air mattress. And I'm like, the Rooster, I don't...
You know what?
He must have liked them a lot more than I did because I ain't sleeping on an air mattress for none of y'all.
That explains everything. If an NBA player is willing to sleep on an air mattress, then he's more than willing to break his hand or injure his thumb and be out 3 to 4 weeks in a EuroLeague game.
And by the way, as someone who has broken his hand in a fight, though I was 13 years old, I will tell you, nothing makes you feel like more of a moron.
Or breaking your hand, punching a wall. But
that'll do it. Yes, there's that.
That is another subject. So apparently, there's a story from the Sporting News that says that the San Diego Chargers, you got Danny Tomlinson being inducted to the Hall of Fame this weekend, and apparently the Chargers are not letting Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates attend the ceremony, and head coach Anthony Lynn thinks they'll be better served at practice with the Chargers during their minicamp.
Okay, so that's Anthony Lynn, first-year head coach?
Yes.
Somebody need to pull him to the side and be like, yo, dog, they going to the ceremony. Period. What are you doing right now? You just got here. Greatest player in the history of the franchise is going into the Hall of Fame. In fact, what they should be doing is putting the whole team on the plane to go for that. No. This is how you lose your quarter. You're probably two most respected players on your team. You lose them with dumb things like this.
Right. Okay, speaking at a fan forum, Jets rookie safety Jamal Adams was asked about CTE. And in relation to that question, he, referring to the football field, said it's the perfect place to die. Now, we don't have the video yet, so I don't know the context, but just judging off those words, perfect place to die, huh?
I just tell you this, when it comes to CTE, you'll wish you died on the field from what I can tell. Unfortunately, you'll die in a miserable state at your home, right? Like, you're not going to die there, buddy. That's not how it works. And, oh, by the way, if you die on a football field with the way things are looking right now, you will be the last person to die on the football field because it's about to stop.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. You think it would have a different effect if the CET effects were being seen right away?
Nah, maybe. I'm just telling you now. Like, you think about that. Imagine somebody died in an NFL game. What Monday would be like.
Oh boy.
Right.
Last but certainly not least, Allen Iverson was a no-show for the Big 3 game in Dallas. People are surprised by that?
Well, the thing was, they saw him at a casino and he was drinking at the Sugar Factory. And I would just like to say, if you're missing work to go drink and gamble at a casino that is not in Las Vegas, I wish you the best, young man, because it sounds like you're not right. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks for joining us here on The Right Time. We do this every weekday, 4 p.m. Eastern. Shannon Nuno Cat, thanks so much. Jalen Jacoby coming up next. Got it!
Thanks for listening to The Right Time podcast. Please come back tomorrow for more. And don't forget to listen to The Right Time with Bomani Jones from 4 p.m. to 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Okay, Kevin, for the grand prize of $1 million, what color is the White House?
I know this. 5 seconds. Oh, switching to Geico could save you a bunch of money on car insurance?
Okay. Judges? That's true, Kevin. They'll allow it. Congratulations. You're a winner.
Woo! Geico, because saving 15% or more on car insurance is always a great answer.